there's a box, and it goes down into the water, and that's known as a sea chest. Right now, it just has a flat, rudimentary, like 3/4 inch screen to keep seaweed out and stuff. Part of the project is the Harbor District is going to modernize that seawater intake. And in doing that, they take the flat screen and put on a cylindrical screen. So it increases the surface area, so it decreases the velocity of the water moving through the screen. So that means fish can swim right up to it and swim away. They don't get stuck to it. And that's a screen with a 1 millimeter opening.
So the Harbor District owns that?
Yes.
And then you,
they
buy the water
Try not to breathe.
Yeah. Well, they lease it to Taylor Seafoods right now, so they have their oyster rafts down below on the other side. But that's one of the seawater intakes that they'll be modernizing. Then there's another one, another dock, the red tank dock, like a mile north. Then they'll put pipelines in between, and that's where the seawater will be sucked in from. Not much to look at, but yeah, we're right next to the deep part of the Dredge Channel and not too far from the mouth of the bay, so it's
and you can see
very unusual for this not to be the same water quality as the ocean. Sometimes you can have a big storm and get some freshwater lensing on top, but where the intakes are located down deeper, you typically don't see a lot of change in salinity. The Humboldt Bay system is really unique. Most major bays have a major river that dumps into them. Humboldt Bay does not. We have one to the north, one to the south, and no evidence that they've ever flowed into the bay for any long period of time. So it's just an interesting geologic feature. But we do have some, big storms that come through. You get some big freshwater inputs from time to time. Generally, it's seawater. So.
How deep is the channel?
I don't know. I think it's 50 feet at least. But this is all Dredge Channel that I think the Army Corps takes care of, and then at a certain point it goes to Harbor District, and I think they're behind on their dredging by a few years. So I don't know. I hear fishermen complaining about it. But,
I think they dredge it 54 feet. When the Corps comes in, it's 54 feet from the jaws all the way up to the turn basin out in front of the old pulp mill shed where they used to, offload to that dock.
Yeah, I was surprised how big that cruise ship was. I was like, what?
That's a little one.
2 feet deep.
Really?
That's a little one.
That is a little one.
Shows what I know.
So, you said earlier that you share this site with a bunch of other business entities, and obviously there is Taylor Seafood or Marisculture out there. Will you continue to have shared use of the facility as the farm develops?
Yeah,
or?
so in that space we're in right now, there's some other companies that will be tearing down that building. So we're responsible for paying to relocate them, but luckily there's enough room left in this warehouse that's staying. So the Harbor District's just designed some walls and bathrooms they're going to build into that space. So they'll have to relocate at some point, but it will be a few hundred yards. So we'll try to make that as easy as possible on them.
But there will still be a variety of different businesses also that are
absolutely.
here too.
And the only reason we're able to relocate them is that they're not coastal dependent uses. So they just need warehouse space. They don't need to be here necessarily. Where Taylor Seafoods is coastal dependent, they need to be here. Yeah, it's interesting. I guess all their shellfish that they're growing here are hatched in Hawaii, and then they get shipped over here as like sand size. And then they grow them to like fingernail size, and then they go out to all their other farms to grow to a full size. So they're very well traveled oysters.
One of the questions I had that I forgot to ask you was about the fish food. Are there local, those 3 suppliers, let's say they're up in Canada, they looking at also relocating here to help support you possibly?
Yeah, it's an emerging industry. Aquaculture is growing on a lot of different fronts. So, I mean, there will be stateside manufacturers, and whether we choose to use those is going to be a business case. And, also going back to our sustainability goals, not everybody makes a fish food that we would want.
Not the local processors, there's tubs and tubs and tubs of fish carcasses. It's about half. When you fillet a fish, you get about half meat and half or more is leftover. That's all getting trucked out of the area right now, isn't it?
I don't know.
So I think it's all leaving the area. So you got you got a tremendous resource of fish processing right here. So it's kind of like if you build it, they will come. If you create a need, people will backfill to supply what you need, because that's how the economy works.
And will the fish be processed here, or will it be so it'll be like?
Yes, the fish come in as eggs and leave as fillets or head-on gutted fish, and they spend their whole lives within the facility, and they move between the buildings through swim pipes, so they never leave the buildings. Everything's through underground swim pipes.
Do they have a window?
It's actually artificial lighting, so they, down to every detail.
It's not very light down there in the ocean anyway.
Well, they're trying to make them you know, as healthy and thriving as possible. So every different aspect, like our tanks have induced current, so they're schooling fish, so they're always swimming against the current in schools. And yeah, they look at the lighting, they look at the behavior, the performance of the food, the feed criteria is crazy, the number of different aspects they look at, but it's how it, you know, works with the fish, how it works with our water treatment systems. Does it float? Does it sink? Does it make the water cloudy? You know, it's just, there's just a lot of different things that go into it. So it's something that's always changing and evolving. Like in the 70s, the fish food that they were feeding to farm salmon was about 70% fish meal. And now it's down to 15 to 20%. And it's even going down more over time. And it's being replaced with like microalgae and insect protein meal and things like that. So it's just becoming more and more sustainable. So we've had a lot of people wanting us to commit to a certain feed recipe, or, you know, the feed with the lowest greenhouse gas impacts or other things. And it's just an oversimplification of what's happening in the industry. But like, for instance, the lowest, oh, we got a couple oyster farmers. Sorry, guys. Yeah, but we had one group that wanted us to commit to the lowest greenhouse gas impact feed that we could get. And what that would be is trawling the bay for small fish and grinding them up and feeding them to our fish. That would be the lowest greenhouse gas impact. And the trade-offs of that are, you know, unacceptable for us. So yeah, it's really complicated. We need to balance all these different things as we look at, you know, every decision that we make. Oh, I'm sorry, man. Traffic jam on the dock this morning.
Scott, I have to go. I know some people are starting to go, but just thank you.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.